In this session, we are going to talk about the time intelligence functions, which are year to date, quarter to date, and month to date. Time intelligence function in Power BI are DEX functions, which are the data analysis expression functions that simplify the calculations across periods such as year to date, quarter to date, and month to date. These functions are essential for analyzing the data trends over time and comparing the performance across different time periods. Now, if we talk about the year to date function, which is also known as YTD, is a calculation that aggregates the data from the beginning of the year up to the current date. It's commonly used in financial reports to track the performance throughout the year. One of the use cases is that if you want to see how your sales have accumulated over the year until the present moment, then you can use the YTD function. The next one is the quarter to date, which is QTD function. Quarter to date aggregates the data from the beginning of the current quarter to the present date. This function is useful for analyzing the performance within a quarter. One of the use cases, if your organization tracks performance quarterly, QTD can help to evaluate the progress within the ongoing quarter. The next one is a month to date. Month to date aggregates the data from the start of the current month up to the present date. It's commonly used for the short term performance analysis. One of the use cases is that MTD is particularly useful for businesses that need to monitor the progress on a monthly basis, such as the retail sales performance or the marketing campaigns. Now let's go to the Power BI screen and see how can we create and use these three functions over there. So we are in our Power BI screen and over here I have provided a small example of these functions. So what I'll do is first I'll remove this and let's say that I'm taking any date hierarchy. So over here I'm taking the date hierarchy, which is showing me all the data which is present in my data set. Now I am taking the sales. Now over here, when you look closely to the sales, so I'll put this in the focus mode. So over here, what would these three functions do? So let's say that I am talking about the month to date function, which is the MTD function. So in that case, you can see that I am starting with this month, January. And over here for the January, it is giving me the sales of 808. Now, throughout the month of this January, whatever sales is happening over here, which is 808.56, then I have 314.22. So it would show me the cumulative sales. Every other day, it would show me the cumulative sales for the complete month. And as it would reach to the end of the month, then it would start from beginning and then it would show me the February sales. So over here, I have already calculated this month MTD sales. So I will put it over here. So now you can see what I was talking about. So in the first day of January, we have done this sales of 808.56. So it is showing me the same data over here. The next day we did sales of 314.22. So it is showing me the cumulative sales, that is the sum of both these sales. And as we progress throughout the month, it is just showing me the cumulative sales. And as we are reaching to the end of the month, then it would show me the complete sales that is being done in that particular month, and then it would start from the beginning for the next month. And the same kind of things would be happening for the quarter to date and the year to date. What it would do is it would take the data for each quarter and for each year. Now how can you make this? We will talk about this. Now first of all, to make these, you need to create a date table. How can you create a date table? So over here, I have already created their date table. And if you click over here, you can see the text expression to create this table. Now to create this date table, what you need to do is you need to use this calendar function. And also you need to take the minimum values and the maximum values that are present in your dataset. Currently, we are working with this global superstore dataset and we are working with the orders table inside it. Over here, I have two date related fields. The first one is the order date and the second one is the shipping date. Order date is the one on which the order was placed and shipping date is the one on which that particular order was shipped. So if I talk about this order date, over here I have to take its minimum value and as well as a maximum value. So I can use this calendar option, and then inside this calendar function I will take the minimum value of this order date as well as the maximum value of order date, and it would create a date table for me. So what you can do is you can basically use this code. So you can type this code, and over here you can go in this table view, home, and over here I have this new table option. Click on this new table option, and where it says table, you can just put this code, or you can just type this code, and you will be using this date table. So let me rename it to date table 1 for now, because I already have a table by date table name. So after this, you can click on commit, and it would create a new table for you, which is this date table 1. Now this date table 1 has this date option, or the date column, which is consisting of the date hierarchy. Now over there, when we were working with the orders table, we had this order date, and whatever dates were present inside that, all these dates would be listed over here. So if you can see this table, all these dates are listed over here, and currently there are 1461 rows. After you have created this table, you need to go in the model view, and we already have this orders table with us now, and our newly created date table 1. So what you need to do is you need to link this date with the order date. So in order to do that, you can drag and drop this on the top of orders date. Now it would ask you that, do you want to link this table, and what are the particular columns that you want to link? So I want to link the date column with the order date. Then it would ask you what is the kind of cardinality. So when we are talking about the data modeling, we'd be discussing all these things. So here in the cardinality, I have to mention one to many, and after using this, I can click on save. So then it would create a relationship for me between this date table and the orders table, and I can use this to create the three functions. So currently, since I already have a date table with me right now, I have just created a duplicate for you. So I don't need it right now. I can just delete it right now from my model, because I already have this right now. I will again go in the report view. Now to create these three functions, what you can do is you can click on the new measure, and you can start writing the functions to create the MTD sales, YTD sales, and QTD sales. So over here, when you will be creating this MTD sales, you will be using this. So you can write any name that you want. So basically, I want to create a MTD sales measure, so I'm using this MTD sales. The only thing that we have to use over here is the function which is the total MTD. Inside that total MTD function, I have to specify two things. The first one is what is the total sales that I am doing. Now, since I know the sales is inside the column sales over here, so I have to say take the sales column, and I also have to refer the table name which is orders. So I'll be using this order sales, and I have to do the sum of it. Then use comma and provide the date table date, which is basically the date column inside our date table table. So I will provide this, and it would create this total MTD for me. Now, if I go to the other functions, which is the QTD, so over here you can see that nothing has changed except this function, which is the total QTD. When I was calculating the MTD, I was using the total MTD function over here, and when I'm using the QTD, I'll be using the total QTD function over here. In a similar way, you will be naming this column, or naming this measure particularly as QTD sales. Coming to the YTD sales, you might have guessed it till now that we'll be using the total YTD function over here, and you will be renaming that particular measure to YTD sales. So apart from these, nothing would be changing over here. So we'll be using the same values to create these three functions. Now, in order to use these functions, what you can do is, first of all, you can click on the date hierarchy, and you can choose what are the different items that you want to keep. So for example, let's say that I was talking about the year for now. So I'll be just using the year. I can put the sales, and then I can put the newly created YDD sales. So you can see this YDD sales. It is basically telling you that what was the sales done in 2011, what was the sales done in 2012, 13, and 14 individually. So you don't have to pay attention to this total option right now, because this total would be just the total of the sales which is done till now for that particular last year. So we had the data of 2014, which was the last year in that table. So it is showing me the data till now, that it has done the sales of 42,99,865.87 till now since the last year, which the data was. Now, this is how you can see the YTD sales. So let's say that if I want to see the QTD sales, in order to do that, what I can do is I will remove this for now. So again, you can take the date hierarchy and you can put in the QTD sales. And to verify, again, you can put in that original sales. So you can see that in the QTD sales, it is doing the cumulative sum of all the sales, and it would keep on doing that until the quarter changes. So over here in the quarter one, I have got this cumulative sales, and as soon as the quarter changes, you can see a new value comes in, and again it has started doing that calculation. So as I move down, you can see as soon as the new quarter starts, which is the quarter three, so over here it has started the calculation again. So it would keep on doing that as soon as the quarter changes. And over here, if I want to see the values in the last quarter, I can see over here that the last quarter of the year 2014, for which we had the data, is giving us some value. So let's bring it to the bottom. Since we have too many rows, so that's why it is taking a bit time in loading. So over here you can see that 2014 quarter 4, we are doing this much of sales, which is 14,81,189. That's why in the total it is giving you that value and not the combined sales value. If you want to see the combined sales value, you can find it inside the sum of sales. So this is how you will use the QTD function. Now talking about the month till date function, again let's say that I'm using this month till date again in this same table. So I can just simply click on it and it would activate it. So now over here you can see for the month of January, whatever data is there in the month of January, it would do the cumulative sum of them. And as soon as the new month starts, my bad, sorry, the data would be reset and it would show you only for that particular month. So now as soon as the month is changing, again it is showing me the cumulative sum of sales for that particular month. And as soon as the next month starts, again it resets itself. So this is how you can create the QTD, YTD, and MTD function. Now, why is this important? Now, some people like to say that how much sales I have done from the last quarter, how much sales I have done from the last month, or what is the exact sales I have done from the last month till now. So in that case, you can use these three functions. If you are just interested in seeing the sum of sales, you can directly use the sum of sales function, which is basically dragging and dropping the sales value into your tables. But if you would like to see the cumulative values, you can use this to create the QTD sales, YTD sales, and MTD sales. This was all for this session. Thank you.